Good day, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Today, we have Jeff Jones, Sales Engineering Manager at Mimosa Networks, who will be sharing a presentation about how to elevate your backhaul solutions with Mimosa B6x point-to-point backhaul radio. Jeff, the floor is yours. You may now begin the webinar.
Great. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Jeff Jones. I'm responsible for leading the global sales engineering team here at Mimosa. Although I'm officially based out of Santa Clara, California, I work from my home office here about 30 miles west of Lake Tahoe in California. As for my engineering team, I have a great group of folks that are responsible for handling the technical aspects of pre-sales, including presentations, trainings, and assisting with proof of concept networks and network design work. I look forward to presenting to you today and collaborating with each one of you. So again, my background with Mimosa is I've been there for 10 years now. I originally handled the customer operations support team. Prior to that, I was a wireless service engineer, primarily focused on network design. So I have about 30 plus years in the wireless space and worked everywhere from private Wi-Fi to public Wi-Fi, as well as Muni Wi-Fi. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the presentation. Hopefully everyone can see my screen okay. So let's talk a little bit about Mimosa. So as you may or may not know, Mimosa started around 2012 here in Silicon Valley in California. Started by Brian Hinman, who is well known for being the person that started Polycom and also a number of other companies. Our humble beginnings started with a very small group of folks. I started 2 years after the company started. And again, it's been a wild ride along the way. We've gone from a quick startup to being purchased back in 2018 by Airspan, and then later acquired by Reliance Jio Radisys in 2023. We're really excited about our new relationship with Radisys. It's a wonderful company, lots of vision for our company. As you may know, they're a very large corporation, part of the Reliance industry. They have a market cap of 238 billion. That's with a B. They're very, very large company, the largest wireless provider and communication provider in India. So we're really excited about working with them and being part of their family. Excuse me. So what drives Mimosa and why is Mimosa such a compelling factor in the wireless space? Well, some of the things that we have going for us, we are a disruptive price per performance solution, meaning that our prices reflect accordingly. We're not the least expensive game in the town. We're not the most expensive. We're right in the middle of between of getting the most value for money spent. We do have proprietary software. That's one of our biggest benefits of our solution, as well as cost-effective silicon. We have fiber-like speed with our point-to-point, multi-point solutions, up to including 8x8 MIMO at 160 megahertz. So, you know, again, on the cutting edge of technology. As for our point-to-multi-point, we can provide up to 6 gigabits per second, and then up to 3.4 gigabits per second on a point-to-point links. As we mentioned earlier, you know, we have a number of benefits to our product. We are operating primarily in the low-cost unlicensed spectrum in the 5 and 6 gigahertz, which is very extremely efficient in rural area and locations. 6 gigahertz has opened up, as you well know, worldwide. More and more countries are allowing the 6 gigahertz frequency. So that being the case, we have a product that we're talking about today that allows 6 gigahertz operation. One of the things that we've really graduated from being just selling to WISP operators, which has primarily been our core business for many years, we're now focusing more on the tier 1 service providers and carriers. What does that mean to you as an operator today? That means that you get to gain the benefits of some of the needs that larger carriers require, including security, access to the radios, having route level access or view only access, other features that have come along because of our tier 1 carrier relationships is enhanced features on our radios, where we're providing greater feature sets that really are being driven by the market. Finally, I would just say that one of the biggest benefits of the Mimosa product is the ability to create our product firsthand. We're able to build and design our products from the ground floor up. Let's see, I see something bouncing here. Sorry, my computer is telling me something here. Okay. Anyways, one of the biggest benefits that we design our own products on the ground floor up here in Santa Clara, California. The benefits of that is that we are kind of control of our own destiny. We're not taking consumer off-the-shelf products and form fitting them to our liking. We literally create the board's design, the case design, the firmware design, all the software that's running behind the scenes. All that is designed in-house. So again, like I mentioned earlier, we can control more of our destiny in that respect. So let's move on and talk a little bit about our solution. Here's just a nice slide that shows you our current offering as it stands today. You can see the number of antennas that we have available on the left-hand side. We have our client radios listed there, going from left to right. The largest panel antenna that you see in the center there, that's our A6 access point. Right next to that is the A5X, which is a cost-effective access point, as well as the A5C, which we all know and love. It's a 4-port connectorized access point. And then we have a number of other radios here, including the B24, B11, and the C5C. So since we're talking about radios and the nomenclature around them, this is what I like to call the ABC of our radios, A being access point, B being backhaul, C being client. We like to keep it simple so there's no confusion. As you can see, we have a number of products available today. The A6 leads the pack on the access point. The B series, we have the B24, B11, B6, and B5X. We have the C6 that's coming out. It's actually highlighted there. That's coming out soon here. That's a non-line of sight client radio that works in conjunction with the A6. We have the C6X, the C5X, and C5C. C5C is very popular in Latin America. We have a number of customers using the C5C. A little tidbit about the C5C is that actually we cannot sell it in the United States because it doesn't meet the FCC requirements, meaning it's a very powerful radio. So the C5C can only be purchased outside the United States. And then we have our antennas, we call N, the N series, N5, 12, 16, 20, 25, and 30. We also have the N545X4, which is a 4-port antenna. We created that about 5 years ago. That marries up with the, pairs up with the A5C, and then the N5360, which is also a 4-port antenna. That's an omnidirectional antenna. Both those antennas are available today, though we're no longer manufacturing them. We have a large quantity of them in our warehouse. So if you are interested in them, please contact your distributor. Some other things just to let you know that we have some other naming conventions. You'll hear the term NMS, which is Network Management System. We often use that and when we speak about the cloud management system. Our cloud management system is a free service. You can sign up. It takes just a few minutes to sign up, and it provides you the ability to manage your wireless devices. It also provides the ability to unlock your radios. So when you first purchase a radio, you'll have to unlock it to the country of operation, and that will require putting in the serial number. And once you do that, it'll provide you an unlock key that you can enter into the radio. Once you do that, you're you're good to go. What the unlock key does is it allows the radios to be configured based on the country of operation and the regulations based on what the government entity wants you to transmit and how much power to transmit. So again, that's just part of the implementation phase of the radio. The last piece of NMS is the ability to design your own network. So we have a built-in network design tool that allows you to take a conceptual idea or basic idea of what your network will look like. You enter in the locations, coordinates, latitude, longitude coordinates, and then it will help you create a network, including a view shed of what the potential coverage will look like. Again, this is a free tool, so if you're used to using RF propagation tools that do cluttered data or some of the more expensive tools, you know, this is not what this does. This is really I would call a ballpark design tool. It'll get you a general idea of what the coverage would look like. But if you do need to use RF propagation tool, that will be something you'll need to provide yourselves. The second one is MMP. This is Mimosa Management Platform. What's really nice about this is that this is a free software package that you can download off of the cloud management system. And what this provides is the ability for you to actually do a standalone system. So you would set up a Linux-based server, either virtual or physical server on your network, install the MMP package onto that server. Takes about 45 minutes to get it set up, and once you have it running, you can actually run your own management system. And the benefits of that is the MMP gives you the ability to look at your system, you know, take a look at different performance metrics, so forth. And if there's something more than you want than what you get on the MMP, there is a premium feature where you can purchase a one-time license, which unlocks all the different feature sets, including performance reporting, alarms. You can also do scheduled maintenances. You can do a number of different things using the premium MMP license. It's a one-time purchase. And again, if you're interested in that, let us know. We can get you more information. And like I mentioned earlier, in the network design tool, NDT, you'll hear that term on occasion. That's the design tool piece of the NMS program. So let's talk about point-to-point use cases. It's very important to understand where a lot of our business has started. You know, back in 2012, we started out selling strictly point-to-point radios. So this is really the backbone, the backhaul backbone of our business. We have a number of customers to this day using our point-to-point systems, and they'll use it for different opportunities. For example, creating a backhaul to different points of present locations. Say, for example, you need to provide a connection from a tower across town to a neighborhood, rather than running fiber or using other means to provide that connectivity. Putting up a point-to-point system and connecting those 2 points is very beneficial. Other opportunities is we have customers using our point-to-point systems as a redundant backhaul on cellular networks. We also have customers using the point-to-point systems for enterprise connectivity, whether it's connecting from a tower to a building or a building to building in a campus environment. Point-to-point gives you that opportunity to make that connection. And then finally, we have a number of customers that are using point-to-point to provide hotspot solutions. So for example, you have a downtown area where you want to provide coverage for an access point, but you don't have a means to get connectivity to that access point. You can put a point-to-point system in to provide that backhaul and then provide connectivity. And then last piece is just temporary construction sites. I would even go further and say just not construction sites, but for example, maybe you have fiber today and you want to extend your fiber into a environment. But you know, fiber takes a lot longer than wireless. So rather than waiting for fiber to be put in, you can capture revenue today by putting up a point-to-point system, connecting wirelessly into a given area, and then set up the access point or whatever you're using to capture that business. So I like the idea of it being temporary, because the good news is that when you put up a Wi-Fi system with a point-to-point network, you can move it later if you ever decide to grow your business or grow your footprint. All this is very scalable. So here's the problem. We've seen this over and over again throughout the world. The Wi-Fi frequencies are getting jammed up with lots of interference. We're seeing more and more users on the 5 gigahertz frequencies. It's become extremely congested, especially in your urban and suburban environments. There's many things that you can do to mitigate this, whether it's using filtering, running synchronization, having antennas that have a tighter gain so that it's able to hear less of the interference and more of the intended signal. But the bottom line, you're fighting against too many people on the same highway, as it says. And so one of the things that we've looked at is, how can we provide a solution in this type of environment? As you can see here in the spectrum graph, this is not uncommon, especially in urban and suburban environments, but even some rural environments, you're starting to see more and more congestion. One way that we are able to identify and deal with a lot of this congestion is add more spectrum. And our radios to date have been primarily on the 5 gigahertz, but all of our 5 gigahertz radios have the ability to index up to 6 gigahertz with the proper licensing and the proper regulations. So as it says here, new lanes are being created in markets where regulations are open. And as the little tidbit you can see here in the Cala region, 79% of our C5C radios are operating outside of the standard 5.1 to 5.9 gigahertz frequency. So a number of people are enjoying the benefits of using frequencies outside of that spectrum. One thing that we really pride ourselves on is our TDMA protocol. So TDMA GPS Sync is a built-in proprietary technology that we use on all our radios that have a GPS receiver. This gives you the ability to co-locate multiple radios in the same small space without causing self-interference. This is very important, especially when you have not a lot of real estate up on a tower, or in this case, a water tank out in the countryside. You can see here we have about 5 or 6 radios that are all within arm's length distance from one another. In a traditional tower or wired environment, this would cause a lot of interference. Because we have built-in GPS sync, which allows the radios to synchronize their transmission as well as their reception, this allows the radios to work in concert with one another, meaning that they will not cause self-interference. So this is a very important piece of our product and the solution that we offer. Another piece that we have is a way to mitigate interference is we have dual link capability on much of our radios. The B6X is a dual link radio. And as you can see in this chart here, you have 2 different channels in the illustration, where one channel may be receiving interference while the other one's not. As you can see here, the channels are automatically able to switch to a clear channel when there is interference on the channel. It does this automatically behind the scenes if you select auto channel. This is very beneficial, especially in environments where they're ever changing. As I like to pick on urban environments like New York City or Chicago, San Francisco, LA, RF frequencies constantly change on a daily basis. I'm sure in your area, you probably have to deal with this as well, where a WISP provider may put up a wireless network for the first time and may or may not choose the right channel, may even choose the channel that you're currently on. With the auto channel, it will negotiate the best channel possible. So it's just something to consider when setting up your network, that you have the option to do auto channel. So let's talk a little bit more about our point-to-point backhaul solution. So today, Mimosa provides 5 radios that actually, this slide is missing one radio, the B11, but we provide 6 radios. In this case, it shows 5. We have the B5X, which is the modular point-to-point radio, operates at 4.9 to 6.4. This will provide 1.5 gigabits per second IP rate over the air. The B6X, which is what we're going to be talking about here today, again, provides you the ability to connect up to 3.4 gigabits per second across the wireless link. It also has the ability to go short, mid, or long range, depending on which type of antenna that you put on it. And then next is the B24. The B24 was specifically designed for short haul, high bandwidth capability. So this is a 24 gigahertz radio. Many customers like this radio to use it in environments where maybe 5 or 6 gigahertz is highly saturated, and they want to step out of that spectrum and get into a more clean environment. Oftentimes 24 gigahertz is more clean and less contention on that frequency than maybe the standard 5 and 6 gigahertz. What is not mentioned on the slide here is the B11. B11 is our licensed radio. It provides 1.5 gigabit per second throughput, and that radio is a licensed radio depending on the country of operation. It offers 10 through 11 gigahertz, and that is a modular radio that actually attaches to a third-party antenna. We have a number of providers that allow that type of antenna setup, including Jiras, Radio Waves, ALG Com, etc. So if you are interested in B11, please contact us. We can give you more information on that. And then finally, the cost-effective radios. We have the C5C, very popular, and the C5X. These kind of a dual mode radio. These radios can either serve as a point-to-point radio, or they can be configured as a multi-point subscriber radio. This is very important, especially if you're in the field and you need the flexibility of maybe you're in a situation where you need to put up a point-to-point link and you don't have some of the more traditional radios at hand. You can literally take 2 C5C radios and configure them in the software to have them act as a point-to-point link. So again, this gives you the flexibility as well as the cost-effective solution if the need arises. So let's talk about our 6 series point-to-point backhaul solution. There's a mouthful. This is our B6X that we're focused on today. This product is coming out this month. This is a next generation multi-gigabit backhaul. It provides up to 3.4 gigabits per second IP aggregate capacity using a 4x4 MIMO 1024 QAM modulation. It does that using up to 2 160 megahertz channels that are combined to give you aggregate throughput of 320 megahertz bandwidth. This is, like I mentioned earlier, this is a dual link operation. This gives you the ability to use auto adaptation as well as load balancing for traffic across 2 non-continuous channels. This radio has our proprietary twist-on antenna port. That antenna port not only serves as an antenna port, but a little known fact, the actual antenna port is an 8 dBi antenna. So if you did need to set B6X up between maybe 2 buildings, or maybe across a parking lot, or maybe under 500 feet, you can really run the B6X without putting an additional antenna on there because it has an 8 dBi antenna built in. One of the biggest benefits of this radio, which we've heard from our customers and we believe is really the need of the hour, is the ability to interface with a 10 gigabit SFP port. Not only does this have the ability for a 10 gigabit SFP port, but it actually has 2 ports available. So you can take one B6X, put it on a tower, and then maybe put another B6X on the tower next to you or a tower leg next to you, and you can literally daisy chain the radios together by using the second SFP port. So obviously you're going to need to still power the radios using either the PoE injector over the Ethernet, which is a port on the radio for that, or using a 48 volt twisted pair connector port on the radio. So if you are using this radio in a telecom environment where you have 48 volts available, then you can use the built-in 48 volt port on the radio to power it. One of the benefits of that is there's limitations to the distances on a PoE injector. I believe it's 320 feet or 100 meters before you have to put a mid-span injector in. With the 48 volt port on the radio, you can exceed that distance with no problem. Other things about this radio here is it has 30 watts of power consumption, which is not much. So we sell a PoE injector that will support this, as well as the ability to be a 48 or 56 passive PoE. So again, this is an accessory that we sell with the radios. In fact, little known fact is that the radio actually comes with a PoE injector. The only reason I found out about that is I just recently received my B6X, opened it up and saw that it had it included in the box. So that's something we did many years ago. We went away from for a while. So it looks like we're coming back to providing the PoE injector with the radio. This is an eye chart, as I like to say. I don't expect anyone to study this, but this is really available capacity of the B6X. And what I want to call attention is the MCS rate in the far left column. You see 0 through 11, 11 being the highest MCS rate. And if you look on the lower right-hand corner of the chart, 2x160, the maximum PHY throughput is 4332 megabits per second. Now, that's based on PHY rate. The PHY rate is measured at the chipset of the radio. The actual real world rate of the radio over the wireless medium is 3.4 gigabits. So just wanted to let you know that this radio is a strong performer, giving you lots of throughput. Here's our feature roadmap for the B6X. As you can see, we're committed to continually designing and developing the firmware to where it works operationally today, as well as feature-rich tomorrow. You can see here that we have a pretty aggressive roadmap between here and the end of the year, coming up with different features that are coming from both our customers as well as the carrier space requirements. So you can see here 330, which is coming out here this month. And then we have the 340 that will coming out shortly thereafter. And then we have 350 after that, and then finally 360. So this is just our commitment to our customers and to our product, that we just don't design the radio and then send it out and that's it. We're continually developing our firmware based on the needs and requirements of our customers. So just feel rest assured that you have that commitment from us, that we're continually designing and developing our firmware on our radios. And speaking about our radios, behind every great radio, or in front of every great radio, is a great antenna. And so you can see here we have the circular screw-on antennas that we provide today, not only just for the B6X, but the C6X, the C5X, the B5X, and the B6X. And you can see the different radios that we sell today in the lower right-hand corner. So what the benefits of having different antennas with different gain is that if you are in an environment where you don't need to go very far distance, you may elect to either use the built-in 8 dBi antenna. If it's a little further out and you need a little more extra gain, you may elect to use a 12 or 16 dBi horn. If you need to go further out, say a few miles or 4 or 5 miles, you may choose to go with the X20 antenna. And if you need to go even further out, you may want to use the X25 or the X30 antenna. We have all these antennas available today. Again, it takes about 10 seconds to put the antenna on. You literally just screw it right onto the radio itself. On the X30, it requires an adapter. Since that's such a large antenna, you would actually mount the B6X behind the antenna and use a twist-on port adapter with the cabling. And I'll show you a picture about that here in momentarily. So here's what the screw-on antenna mount looks like. We support 5 different configurations of our antennas, the 12, 16, 20, 25, and 30 dBi gain antennas. This is field installable, so you can really do this in the field on the ground, or if you're up on a tower, very easy to install. We have a little locking screw on the bottom of the radio antenna port, so if you want to secure the antenna, which I would highly recommend, you can literally use the hex head and set screw. And then one other piece that I think we often overlook as being a real benefit is that all our radios, the antennas as well as the excuse me, the antennas as well as the housing construction of our radios are metal. And why that's important is that provides the extra capability of keeping the moisture out of the radio, as well as just the durability of the radio itself. So all our radios are IP67. The C5C is IP55 rated. So again, we're very serious about having radios that can last a long time in under, ever-changing weather elements. So you can see here, it's a metal radio that connects to a metal antenna, very important piece. So this is just a quick demonstration of how the antenna screws onto our radios. In this case, this is a C5X, and you can see how it just twists on, and literally that quick. So very simple setup. Again, the benefits of having different antennas is you can change antennas based on the RF needs at that location. If you have an installation crew, they can carry 4 or 5 different types of antennas, and based on the environment and the need of each location, they can quickly change out the antennas to achieve the necessary throughput and connectivity between 2 points. So here's just the antenna pattern, the X12 antenna. You can see here, it's a pretty wide angle antenna. Again, this antenna is best used in short distances. We recommend this antenna for, distances up to a mile or so. We have a number of customers using this in campus environments where they're shooting across a parking lot. Maybe they're shooting a signal, half a mile to a mile out. The X12 antenna works good for that. If you need a tighter pattern, you can see that the X16 gives you a little more concentric pattern where your signal is more concentrating. This is not only good for sending the signal, but also receiving the signal. And as we all know, with interference, when you take the antenna and you start adjusting the gain to make it a tighter gain, that can actually help overcome certain interference noise sources that may be off in the peripheral. So having a directional antenna that has a higher gain can benefit you, especially overcoming interference. As you can see here, the X20 is a little more concentrated, actually a lot more concentrated than the horn antenna. And again, gives you that best-in-class front-to-back ratio. And then here's our 25 dBi antenna. Again, this gives you a more concentrated signal. We have a number of customers using the X25 antennas up to 20 to 25 miles out. So it's, again, very high performing antenna. And if you need to go further than that, you may want to consider your X30 antenna, which even gives you a tighter pattern and a higher gain. One of the side benefits of this antenna is because this is a modular built parabolic dish, we're able to package this into a small cardboard box about the size of maybe an oversized keyboard box. If you were to order a keyboard online, it's about that size, or maybe a little bit bigger. So, that's one of the biggest concerns when you start dealing with larger antennas is, the shipping costs. Because this radio antenna actually breaks down to petals like a flower, you literally connect them together to make the actual parabolic dish. It definitely lends to portability and reduces your shipping costs. Here's some of those twist-on ports that I was mentioning earlier. NetPoint is one of our valued vendors, as well as ALG Com. out of Brazil. Both companies make a wonderful product that gives you the ability to put a waveguide adapter onto the radio, and then also waveguide adapter onto the back of your antenna. So if you need to remote your antenna away from your radio, you can do that as well. Also, too, we've partnered with Cape Performance. Their antennas are fantastic. We've had really good success with them. They also manufacture a 34 and 36 dBi antenna. So if you need to even do longer, excuse me, you have to do longer distances than what the 30 dBi antenna can offer, you can always select up to a larger dish antenna. So again, those options are available. You would obviously need to purchase the KP antennas, from your distributor. Here's just some quick pictures of the B6 in the field. You can see here we have the B6X there on the left-hand side. That's actually my car sitting there in front of my house. That's a demo setup that I have set up to do some testing here soon, as well as you can see in the picture above the center there, that's the B6X with an adapter on there. The picture below is the B6X in Malaysia. We have one of our customers using our product there. It's one of our early adopter customers. And then we have the B6X in the far right. That's one of our early prototypes there. So you can see, it's a real product. It's just not a slideshow. You can see that we do have the product available, and we'll be shipping out this month. Okay, well, that's all I have today as far as the presentation. I want to take this time to try to answer any questions. If I can answer the question, I'll do so. If I cannot, I'll write it down and we will get back to you with that information. So at this point, I'd like to open up the floor to those who are attending and see if we can get some questions.
Okay. Thank you, James, for this presentation. It was very interesting. And thank you very much to all the attendees from different countries in Latin America and also from the United States for attending this webinar. Right now, I am going to open up your microphone so you can ask the question.
Jeff, I got a question. Am I on?
Yes, we can hear you. Please.
Hey, Eric Williams here, SD Wisp in Southern California. Hey, I'm really looking forward to that new 6 gig link radio. Could you tell us a little bit more when it'll be available? I've had one on back order for 2 months, and I believe there was a hold up in some programming or something. Can you touch on that? I think that's going to be a game changer for our noisy environments. And I appreciate your presentation. I learn something every time.
Thank you, and I appreciate the candid information there. You're absolutely right. So we did manufacture the radios. We have them ready to go. The last bit of tweaking of the firmware is what the holdup was. So we do apologize for that, because obviously we want to get these out to you, everyone, as quickly as possible. As I've been told by our product management team, that the radios are going to be available starting this month. They'll be shipped out to the distributors.
Perfect. And then maybe could you touch on the A6, C6? I have a lot of those APs up, and I'm waiting for the proper access on the new 6 gig band. Could you touch on that since we're talking 6 gigs?
Yeah, so what you're referring to is the AFC functionality of the radios. So AFC is now available through FCC. We are doing our testing as we speak with the AFC, and all indications show that we will be able to provide the AFC solution this September. And so when that does happen, you'll have the ability to unlock the 6 gigahertz portion of the point-to-multipoint solution.
Sounds good. And if you need any help, reach out to me, SD Wisp in San Diego. I'm happy to log you into my radios and do any additional testing if you need. Thanks again.
Yeah, sounds great. And any reason for me to come down to San Diego, believe me, I'll take it. I love that area.
I'll email you directly, Jeff. We've met, so thank you.
Okay, you bet. Thank you.
Conrad here, Sky Valley Network in Ramona, California. I was curious about the distance range that we have for the B6X. I'm looking at around 7 miles that I have in mind for that thing. So want to see what my options are.
Great question. So, you know, the RF engineer in me wants to give you the RF engineer response, and it depends. But I'm gonna unfold that a little bit. So it does really depend on your RF environment. So if you're in a noisy environment, you may be able to get away using like a 20 dBi dish on the B6X. But one of the benefits of a high gain antenna is just not so that you can punch the signal through an area, but also concentrate the signal. So in a high noise environment, you may be better off going with a 25 dBi antenna, even at 7 miles, just because what that does is it gives you more of a pencil-like beam between the 2 points. But as far as distances, yeah, no problem with either 20 or 25 dBi dish at that distance.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for the response.
You bet. Any other questions from the audience?
Two wisps in San Diego. We're the only ones with questions. Amazing.
Well, as long as we've got somebody who's an expert, is it a problem if I share some things that I'm unhappy with and would like to see modified on the equipment?
Is this in reference to the B6X?
No, actually, on the the C5X.
We can open that can of worms. I'm more than happy to try to give you an answer on the line right now, or if you want to take this offline, which I would probably prefer, we can have a dialogue and probably a more in-depth conversation. What do you think?
That works fine for me.
Okay, great. I am sure if it hasn't done or has been presented already, my contact information should be presented in this. If you don't have that, I'm happy to give you my email and we can set up a conversation. My email is my name, Jeff, Jeff, .jones at radisys.com. That's RADISYS.com. And that'll get you to my email and we can set up a meeting and have a good conversation.
So the beginning of your email again was Jeff Jones?
Yes, Jeff.Jones, JEFF.JONES at Radisys, RADISYS.com.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Great. Look forward to talking with you on this. Any other questions?
Just a quick one. Is the max distance limited by just signal, or is there any timing limitations on how far we can get a link?
It really is based on your RF environment, as well as, you know, there's some RF physics that we all have to contend with. There's a term called free space path loss. It's a natural attenuation of RF energy over distance. So the further you go out, the more attenuation occurs just naturally. So you have that working against you. The way you combat that attenuation is to intensify the signal, as we mentioned earlier in the presentation, using a higher gain antenna like the 30, 34, or 36 dB antenna will give you that distance that you may be looking to achieve. It's not uncommon in point-to-point networks to see distances in excess of 40, 50, 60 miles across a link. As far as any type of limitation on timing, that isn't an issue with a point-to-point system. I would say that is an issue with a point-to-multipoint system because of the protocol that is being used on a point-to-point system. Since this is a L2 wireless Ethernet bridge, you don't have that complication. Really, you're fighting against, you know, just getting a signal across the link. over a long distance. So that really comes down to your TX power coupled with your RF gain to achieve longer distances than normal.
Okay, thank you. We've had some experience with another manufacturer, and there was a limitation at somewhere around 35 kilometers.
So yeah, I'm aware of those limitations, but we don't see that with our point-to-point links.
Okay, thank you.
Can you go over approximate price point for the B6X?
You know, I'm actually gonna steer away from that question for a couple of reasons. One, I'm the sales engineer, and it's bad form for me to quote pricing with the distributor on the line. So I will let them, you know, share what the pricing is. We do have MSRP pricing, which is publicly available, but I will defer that question to the distributor, because their pricing is based on their negotiated price. So if the distributor is online, if you can chime up and share what what you are anticipating the price would be, that would be great. And it doesn't look like they heard the question. So I would actually just ask for you to ask them, and they'll give you your special pricing.
Okay, I will work on that. Thank you.
You bet.
So, thank you very much again for attending this webinar. We reached to the end of these presentations, and we wish you all a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.